Okay, I decided to make a video for you so that you can practice what we did in class today, and we'll see how it goes. So step one was to take a clean brush and wet the back, actually put the tape. Step one was put your tape on a third of the way down for your horizon line, and then we're going to wet the back of the paper with our biggest brush. I'm going to make sure we get some good coverage there, and that should be pretty good. Okay, you don't want any puddles, but you want it pretty wet. And then we're going to stick it. And by the way, if your board wasn't big enough, any non-porous board will work. So I'm working on, I don't know, it's kind of a metal sketching thing for markers and anything that you have, corrugated board. Oh, I wrote tape on there and it's running. Will do. So if the board you have is too small, you can always bring in your own board for this. Okay, so it's pretty wet, and I hope you can see, I got a pretty good light here, so I hope you can see how wet it is. There's no puddles, but it's really nice and shiny there, okay? And I wet the bottom, even though we're not painting there yet, because it keeps the paper nice and flat for us. So we're going to mix up our first batch of ultramarine, and I had some here because I had to do the video twice because I forgot to put it on record. And it should be a pretty big puddle, so at this point I'm going to add a little bit more water into there just so that I can create a pretty big puddle. Okay, and here we're looking for kind of a milk or cream consistency. We're going to discuss consistency more in the next class, but that's probably pretty good. Once you've mixed your paint, have a look at your paper and make sure it's still wet enough. And mine has just a slight sheen. So I think one of the things in class is we probably could have gone a little bit wetter. So I'm going to wet it one more time here. And you can kind of press out the crinkles if it starts to crinkle. And then I'm just going to do a test where our cliff is. So if it's spreading like that, then you're probably in pretty good shape. Let me make sure I'm moving this the right way. So I could go a little bit darker because but as the paper dries, so you want to see this explosion. And that way you don't really have to paint that much. You just kind of dab it on and it flows from there. And I would suggest doing the bottom and the sides first. Make sure the shape is connected, and then you can start narrowing in on the center shape that we need to make. So the center shape that we need to make is kind of like this, but I'll do something just to demonstrate something for you. If you divide the paper in half, you don't want both sides to look exactly the same. So one side should look different than the other. We're going to go like this. And then this side maybe will have something peeking out that looks like that. So now our two sides, if we divide it in half, look completely different, and that is good composition. So the next thing we did is we made a darker paint. So I'm going back into my ultramarine blue. I'm not adding a lot more water. I'm just adding more ultramarine blue. And now I'm going to add some dark shadows at the bottom of these clouds. Okay, and my paper is still wet because I applied a wet layer. And just make sure you connect these darks. It makes more sense in a painting if things are connected rather than having sporadic dots in different areas. If you have some light there, you could work around that. See how I have a bit of light on that part? I could emphasize that bit of light there by just putting dark around it. So that's pretty much the phase of the dark. You could go even darker if you want in certain spots, but this hill is going to be pretty dark, so we really don't want to be too dark there. But we can be dark over here. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's what we got. If you want to put some dark coming down here, that's also kind of cool, so that it looks like the cloud from above is coming into that. Leave a pretty big area. Should be at least your palm size that is completely white. And that is step 1 for you.